Welcome, I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. It's been 25 years since The Sopranos, the hit show about a New Jersey mob family, premiered on HBO. The show has become a cultural phenomenon and continues to find new audiences. Anthony Mason sat down with creator David Chase and star Edie Falco, among others, to mark the milestone and remember late actor James Gandolfini.
The late James Gandolfini played Tony as an endearing anti-hero.
He's incredible. Well, the whole thing was about his face and about his eyes, actually. There's something about his eyes that was otherworldly.
Edie Falco played Tony's wife, Carmela.
There's such a great dynamic between the two of you in the show.
Yeah, it's a matter of alchemy. We both had Italian families, had some idea of what this dynamic feels like, and just sort of fell into it with great ease.
Later in the show, creator David Chase on the continued admiration of The Sopranos.
People are still watching this show.
I know, yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Of course it makes me feel, good. I hope that what it means is that it means something, that the show means something.
Yeah.
Even if it just means I'm having a good time watching this.
Yeah.
But I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah. What more do you think there is?
I think the humanity.
Then from mob bosses to breakers. Breakdancing, or breaking as those in the community call it, is an Olympic sport for the first time. Luke Burbank spoke to a hopeful competitor and pioneers of the art and sport.
Their crew, the New York City Breakers, and others like them, blended older dances like rocking and popping with martial arts and anything else they thought looked cool. And whenever there was a party, they'd show up and then show off during the musical breaks on the records, hence the term breaking. But London Reyes and Chino Lopez say this was more than just entertainment. This was a way to break out of an impoverished South Bronx.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Even The Sopranos creator, David Chase, isn't sure if the show's a drama or a comedy. He hoped the series would reflect real life, even basing mob boss Tony's mother on his own. Anthony Mason caught up with Chase and stars of the beloved TV show as they celebrate 25 years since the world met The Sopranos.
Has it been a while since you've been back here?
Oh yeah, it's been 17 years.
David Chase's drama about a mob family headquartered in a New Jersey strip club would change television. All year, creator and cast have been celebrating the debut of The Sopranos a quarter century ago.
I had a lot of friends who were auditioning for this thing called Sopranos. I thought it was about singers.
And he calls and says, you want to be in my new TV show? And I say, yeah, no thanks.
Like a series on HBO was kind of like the bargain basement. And I'm not being facetious.
Chase had offered it to all of the broadcast networks.
And what did they say to you?
Too dark.
But it could be darkly funny, too.
You're not gonna believe this. He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator. His house looked like
I've never been able to figure out whether it's a comedy. I guess it's like life. I don't know, I hope.
It started as a show about a mob boss with a troublesome mom.
All I know is daughters are better at taking care of their mothers than sons.
And that was my apartment up there.
Chase, who grew up in suburban New Jersey, based her on his own mother.
So why did you want to put her with a gangster?
I believe that if my mother had been a male, she might have been a criminal.
Hey, Ma.
Nancy Marchand just brought it to life.
I wish the Lord would take me now.
Well, in the meantime.
Tormented, Tony Soprano is driven to see a therapist, Lorraine Bracco, as Dr. Melfi.
Mr. Soprano?
Yeah.
So you based Tony's mother on your mother, and you based the therapist on your therapist.
I think I was probably trying to remother myself.
Oh, interesting.
I was looking for a woman of my mother's age who wouldn't behave like a maniac.
Yeah. And that's what Tony's trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Chase also saw The Sopranos as a parable of America in decline.
At that time in America, There was so much consumption, greed, that it was enough to make a mob boss sick.
The late James Gandolfini played Tony as an endearing anti-hero.
He's incredible. Well, the whole thing was about his face and about his eyes, actually. There's something about his eyes that was otherworldly.
It says with pulp.
You like it with pulp?
Not this much.
Edie Falco played Tony's wife, Carmela.
There's such a great dynamic between the two of you in the show.
Yeah, it's a matter of alchemy. We both had Italian families, had some idea of what this dynamic feels like, and just sort of fell into it with great ease. It was, you know, a 10-year marriage, and it was as close to a real one as I had known.
Musician Steve Van Zandt played Tony's underboss, Silvio Dante.
Which I was very comfortable with, you know, having, you know, done that kind of a thing with Bruce Springsteen in real life, you know?
Yeah. Cheer me up, babe. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
There had never been anything like it on TV.
No stars, too many characters, you know, no seductive lighting, no cute camera moves, you know, nothing other than this very weird story of a mob boss who has a nervous breakdown because ducks flew out of his pool. That's the makings of a hit show, you know?
More than a hit, it's become an enduring cultural phenomenon. Constantly rediscovered by new audiences who still tour its shooting locations.
But outside of the church right here is where Tony approaches Bobby Bacala.
What do you think the magic in it is?
Well, first of all, it's really good.
Michael Imperioli played Tony's hot-headed nephew.
Get a pastry box.
Christopher Moltisanti.
Move it!
Script after script, it would get more interesting and deeper. And, you know, by the end of the first season, I was like, this is incredible.
It was like, you know, I guess a musician playing, you know, Bach or something. It just, it's like, oh, this is just an honor.
Within 2 shows, everybody stopped me on the street, you know, Sopranos, Sopranos, Sopranos. Yeah. You know, the fact that I had been a rock star for 20 years before that, gone. I mean, it's just like...
We would go out, 5 or 6 of us, and get a standing ovation. It was like playing for the Yankees.
Steve Sciarippa joined the cast in the 2nd season.
Bobby Bacalieri, the last man standing.
And we were sincerely friends, on and off.
The only tense day I can remember, honestly, was the day we whacked Vinny Pastore. Yeah. You know, big pussy.
Is that okay, Tony? Did I sit?
Because, you know, when you kill somebody, you know, or they die on the show, you're not going to see them anymore.
It was a fate all the actors knew they could face.
The more they gave you to do, your character, the better shot at you getting killed off. I didn't buy an apartment here until the show was over.
Sciarippa got a call one night from David Chase, who asked to come over.
He'd never been to your house before.
No! Does it come to your house? How they killed you then became a badge of honor.
Yeah.
You know, was it a good kill or did you fade away?
Yeah.
Mine was pretty good. The train store, you know, it was pretty cool.
After 10 years of filming, The Sopranos' final episode aired in 2007.
Did I read that in the last read you actually started crying?
I was out of control. I was embarrassed. I really couldn't stop crying. It was ridiculous.
What were you feeling?
It was this thing in this moment will never happen again to me, to anyone.
It changed a lot of people's lives.
Sure. I think all of ours.
Yeah.
In all kinds of ways.
The ending, an abrupt cut to black, was controversial.
Don't stop. My initial thing was, you know, did the TV go out like everybody? But the ambiguities of that I thought were really interesting. Did he die?
Yeah.
Is that the last thing he saw? I mean, those questions that lingered that people just tried to figure out.
You kind of left room for everybody to make up their own ending.
Yeah. That was not my intention.
What was your intention?
Here, David Chase stopped to think.
I don't know how to explain it. life is precious. And I don't think if he'd gone to prison or if he'd died with his face in the linguine, I don't think we would have thought that.
After the break, an exclusive excerpt from Anthony Mason's chat with the cast and creator of The Sopranos, something you can only see right here on Here Comes the Sun. Stay with us.
It was nothing but joyful. It was joyful.
As promised, here's more from Anthony Mason's interviews with The Sopranos cast and the show's creator, David Chase.
Have you gone back and watched the whole thing?
No, I haven't.
Why not?
Why not? Because I read that Orson Welles said never do that.
Yeah.
So if Orson says I don't do it.
Why did he say not to do that?
I mean, I understand because I have watched pieces of it.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, we should have jacked that up a little bit, or we shouldn't have said that, or should have come around. He should have come around the corner.
Yeah.
Are
you super critical of your own work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like to watch?
It was fun. It was fun because we had friends over and Italian food and wine. And,
you weren't sitting there ripping it apart.
No. And it worked. You know.
Why did it work? Why did it work so well? You've made a lot of shows. You've worked on a lot of shows.
Well, all the shows I'd worked on before that were network shows.
Yeah.
So there was interference at every level.
Yeah.
On The Sopranos, there was no interference.
Yeah.
You were able to go way further out.
Yeah.
Hence I believe, the realism question comes into play.
Yeah.
It's more realistic. It's more realistic than some television series.
Yeah.
Which is not realistic.
Yeah.
Because, well, we all know why. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just, I believe it was, or people have said, not what I believe, people have said it's more representative of actual human behavior.
People are still watching this show.
I know, yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Of course it makes me feel, good. I hope that what it means is that it means something, that the show means something.
Yeah.
Even if it just means I'm having a good time watching this.
Yeah.
But I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah. What more do you think there is?
I think the humanity.
Yeah.
What you were talking about, I hope that that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that those people on that show were able to get other people, to be interested in them and their problems.
Yeah.
Crazy as those problems might have been.
So how would you describe your experience of it?
That it was a job I got to go to again and again and again. Yeah. Couldn't believe my good fortune is what it really was. Like, we'd hear it got picked up again, and Jim and I looked at each other like, well, we're got to do it again, whatever it is we did. I don't remember, we're like, maybe he was different, but my experience of Jim was that he was also like me in that we weren't really intellectually, we weren't intellectual actors. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about backstory, and it was really just like two people playing. And the only guidelines were the words and the circumstances. So he and I were similar in that way. Like, I guess we just go and do that pretend thing that we did again. I don't know. Yeah. But it was nothing but joyful. It was joyful.
How did you feel when it was over?
I felt it when we watched that last episode. Most of the principal cast were together at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, for a big event there. Big party, and then we went into a private room to watch it, as everyone else in America was watching it at 9 o'clock that Sunday.
Yeah.
I just realized, this is the end of a really important, amazing chapter in my life. It was very bittersweet.
I mean, that's for an actor, that it doesn't often go longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, as an actor, and also having the opportunity to write some episodes and be like...
That's right, you wrote 5, right, I think?
Yeah, get to be... The writer was also like, the writer would be on set as a producer as well, and have that experience. Primarily as an actor, though, right? That's what I mostly did on that show. For me, it was, I couldn't have come up with a better gig if I dreamed it than that.
Up next, a sport makes its big break. Welcome back. Breaking, the preferred name for breakdancing, is officially an Olympic sport. Luke Burbank got the spin on how breaking has grown from hip-hop moves popularized in the Bronx to a worldwide sport, drawing competitors from all over.
We've got some breaking news here on Sunday Morning, and that is breaking is making its debut as an Olympic sport at this summer's games in Paris. And yes, these days we call it breaking, not break dancing, because that's what its practitioners, known as B-boys and B-girls, tend to use. Folks like Victor Montalvo, a.k.a. B-boy Victor, who will compete this summer for Team USA.
That's something we're trying to bring to the Olympics, like that hip-hop flavor, you know?
In fact, breaking runs in Victor's family. One day, when he was 6,
my dad just busted out like a windmill. My uncle was doing head spins, and we were just like so amazed.
Victor was inspired, and so was his dad, who built him a practice studio in their backyard in Florida.
And he always tells me, like, I'm living through you.
One of the things Montalvo loves about the sport, you don't need any fancy equipment. In his case, just a simple floor he installed in his tiny Venice, California garage.
I love when it's all rugged because honestly, that's what breaking comes from, you know? It comes from the streets.
We started it on the concrete. I had a bald spot in the middle of my hair right here because I kept doing head spins.
That do-it-yourself vibe is something breaking's pioneers know all about. Of course, we mean Noel Mangual, a.k.a. Kid Nice, Chino Action Lopez, Corey Montalvo, a.k.a. Icy Ice, and London Reyes, known as B-Boy London. They came up with many of the sport's original moves in the Bronx back in the late 70s and early 80s.
He had a hole in his afro.
I did.
That's
But
funny.
wait, so were you weren't putting any cardboard down at this point yet?
Breaking was developed on concrete.
It's kind of like, you know, for example, you start a job and you hope you get promoted. So you start with concrete, now we got promoted to cardboard, and then we got promoted over to linoleum.
And then we graduated and went on to wood.
Their crew, the New York City Breakers, and others like them, blended older dances like rocking and popping with martial arts and anything else they thought looked cool. And whenever there was a party, they'd show up and then show off during the musical breaks on the records, hence the term breaking. But London Reyes and Chino Lopez say this was more than just entertainment. This was a way to break out of an impoverished South Bronx.
Keep in mind, we're kids that are trying to find our way through this war zone that we had nothing to do with, but we have to live this.
I've had a lot of friends that are not with us today, you know, unfortunately, whether it was violence, whether it was drugs. I mean, it was there. But the path that we chose was to get away from all that.
Right.
You know, and stay away from all that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the New York City Breakers.
That path took them places they never could have imagined. Like the Kennedy Center Honors in Washington, D.C., hosted by Walter Cronkite, where they impressed none other than Charles Osgood himself.
So someday if somebody asks you, Grandpa, how did they dance in your day? You just get right down and show them this.
These days, breakers come from all over the world and all walks of life, and everyone is eager to see the dance take its next step on the Olympic stage.
The next generation to carry this on for the next 40 years.
It's just a dream of ours, and it's always been a dream of mine since 1983.
If these kids don't give me a heart attack with all the moves they're doing these days.
It's insane what they're doing today.
Oh my God, these kids, like, what we thought of back then, these kids are doing it today.
Right.
So in speed is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa.
That was really fast. It's like, when you do the go down, it's like
Yes,
that
you got it,
basically?
yeah.
I may have pulled something. Breaking might make its only appearance at this year's Summer Olympics, and it might be B-Boy Victor's one chance to achieve that dream his dad had so many years ago of achieving international acclaim for a dance invented by kids just looking to escape their reality in the Bronx all those years ago.
I just want to show that it's evolved and it's a beautiful art form. It's a beautiful sport. You don't need much money to get into this sport. You know, you just need a dance floor and self-expression. I just can't wait for it to be at the Olympics just to show, like, yo, guys, like, we have a lot to offer.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.